talkative, EnglishSermon, right and salt. Let's look at the Bible verses about right and salt in the Bible. Matthew 5:13 and 16, salt and right. 13. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be drawn out and trampled under people's feet. 14. And you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. 15. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and is given light to all in the house. 16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good work and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. 5 and 7 in a well-known text to us in the name of mountaineering. The honor of the mountain is to the disciples who have been called to the people of God. It is a strengthening that teaches the identity of the people of God. The people of God can be said to be those who have obeyed the new law due to the grace of the new covenant. The people of God are not those who live in the ruins of the law. They are those who live in the great honor of the law with the grace of the Holy Spirit. So God's people must represent a new life that keeps the law more excellent. This is the core of the whole sermon on the mountain. Today's text belongs to the introduction of a sermon on the mountain. Following the last text, Matthew 5:1 and 12. The previous text, called the so-called 8 stairways to heaven, taught us the new way of life of the people of God. A life in which the spirit is full, mournful, gentle, righteous, proud, clean-hearted, peaceful, persecuted, the righteousness is the opposite of the life that the so-called world is blessed. But the Bible says that this life is blessed, and the people of God live like this. Today, the next shows us what the people of God are in the world. What is the people of God in the world? Let's look at the text today. First, section 13 says, the people of God as follows. You are the salt of the world, and if the salt loses its taste, it will be squeezed with something, and after that it will be useless. But it will be drawn out and stepped on by a person. Just say thus, you are the salt of the world. There are various opinions of scholars about the meaning of salt. Salt was very precious at the time. You are a very precious person in the world, and salt not only tastes salty in food and provided necessary salt for survival. You are the necessary being in the world. Salt also functions to prevent food from decaying. You don't rot the world, No matter what you get, salt is essential and it is precious. People of God are essential and honorable to the world. But there are conditions here. If the salt loses its taste, it will be salted for something. The people of God are necessary and noble only when they make the original salty taste. If the people of God cannot make the original salty taste, he has no use for it. There is also division of factual interpretation in this part. Technically speaking, salt never loses its salty taste. So some scholars argue that this salt is a salt-containing stone. Soon the stone that is out of salt is no longer salty and is abandoned. Some scholars argue that this salt is a mixture of lime. When salt was collected through evaporation in the Dead Sea, lime and salt were often mixed. Salt mixed with a lot of lime was considered useless because it could not produce salty taste properly. Some scholars also claim this word as a rhetorical expression. Can salt lose its taste? Soon the real salt is a proverbial expression that never loses its taste. When I look at the whole sermon on the mountain, I think the second and third are the most important. Because the Sermon on the Mountain is the Lord of God, but does not do God's law. Because it speaks of a false believer who will not enter heaven. It will never be salt, but it will never be salt. It is always salt. It just looks like salt, but in fact, there are cases where it is not salt. Likewise, the people of the real God will always have their own salty taste. But either the fake God people may seem like salt. You will not be able to produce any salt taste. You will be abandoned. Luke, Gospel 5:51 and 56. 51. When the days drew near for him to be taken over, he set up his face to go to Jerusalem. 52. And he sent messengers ahead of him, who went and entered the village of the Samaritan to make a preparation for him. 53. But the people did not receive him, because his face was set toward Jerusalem. And when his disciples, James and John, saw it, they said, Lord, do you want us to tell fire to come down from heaven and consume them? 55. But he turned and recalled them. 56. And they got on to another village. Today in the Gospel, Jesus says he is going to Jerusalem. The Samaritans do not welcome Jesus to their village. Then angry Jacob and John, as the earlier of the Old Testament, punished these enemies 2 Kings 1, 10 and 12. 10. But Eliah answered the captain of 50, If I am a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. Then fire came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. 11. Again the king sent him and the capital in 50 men, it is 50. And he answered and said to him, O man of God, this is the king's order. Come down quickly. But Eliah answered them, If I am a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. Then the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and 50. And his 50. Actually count Matthew 5, 13 and 16. What if you know what it is when you don't want to be light and salt? There is an example of the Republic of Nauru. Hospital expenses, the education expenses, overseas study expenses are free. There is untaxed pay to the country and a married couple. There is a country that provided free homes and distributed 100 million won every year. Would you be really happy to live in such a country? In the past, suddenly becoming rich, we gave these benefits to the people. Eventually, there is a small country that is on bankrupt and barely lives with the help of Australia. There is about 10,000 people living in a small island country, Nauru Republic near Australia, which is about the size of the Yongsan-gu in Seoul. Until it was discovered by Europeans in 1798, this island country was peaceful, faced like the island countries. When Europeans discovered this island nation provided weapons and alcohol, they fought to occupy a small land with each other. The population is reduced from 30,000 to a third. It was thanks to this bird pool that suddenly made the Republic of Nauru a good life. A material called phosphorite built from a pile of new seed called albatross covered the entire island of Nauru. Phosphorus is a raw material for high quality chemical fertilizer, so it has been making a lot of money by exporting phosphorus since 1970. So, since 1980, it has become a well-off country with a per capita income of more than $30,000. Japan was worth 10,000 at a time. How luxurious the people of Nauru lived at that time. The public went shopping and eating out every day in Fiji, Hawaii, and Singapore on private plane. Even they are not many loads, but when the oil pours in the luxury car, he just throws away the car and buys a new car. There are 9 little passenger ships and 29 gas stations. On this narrow island, they drove a few miles. I was a traveler shop at a mart. So when I drove the mud and coal, the employer picked up the goods and loaded it into the car. Of course, all the people who work in this country were farm workers. Even the civil servants working in and out of war, all foreigners. There was no heaven, but the downpour came soon. Since the 1990s, mining has been declining. Postpaid mine. Soon the postpaid was about to run out. The government tries to make a power on the beach and make the people work, but no one came out of Nauru. Until then, the people of Nauru were enjoying a beach without knowing the seriousness of the situation. No one to work, no land to farm, the postpaid mine. Of course, no one knows how to farm or catch meat unless they were elderly. For this season, the Nauru still eats only imported processed food. The government has tried to reduce the amount of the postpaid mining and to the various projects. As it is already increased, it has not been able to cover the consumption of the people. At a time, the Nauru government was so corrupt that individuals embezzled the government budget from time to time. I've been a little bit too busy investing. The Minister of Economy also said that he never received any education about the economy. I bought a fund real estate, rented, made a bank like Switzerland and hide black money. After the September 11 terrorist attacks, Nauru was designated as terrorist support country, and the money that came in was locked. Now it is a poor country that can not live without Australia help. In today's gospel, Jesus invites those who follow you to be the light and salt of the world. Light burns itself and reveals the world, and the salt melts itself and tastes the world. Being light and salt means being the thing that is needed in the world. Why should we be the ones we need in the world? Because otherwise we are anymore. Jesus has healed the demonized military in the Gerasas region. The demons asked them to let them into the swarm. Jesus permitted. Because it cannot be right and salt on their own. It is the free will to reveal the world and taste the world. Because we can, this is the life that the devil leads us to. It is life to fill the sea with what others give. The people of Nauru consider heaven a swarm of pigs, and is ruined. The Zoms have no sense of community because they do not make any sacrifices for the community. It's an army, but it's not the community. But if any community is to be maintained, each of them will have maintained that community. It must serve as light and salt. How much light and salt do each person serve to maintain the family? So you can be happy. God's country is not a country to eat and drink. It is a community that is out of beast as each other tries to become light and salt for the community. It is the life of heaven to be a good person in the world, not a person who consumes the goods of the world. Elizabeth Bunker's story. Bottom line, on May 10, 2022, at the Rollins College, a graduation speech was being held by an American college girl. She remained silent for 5.5 minutes and without a word. When she came down from a podium, all the graduates got up and hit their hand. Her name is Elizabeth Bunker. She is an autistic person who has lost the language skill. Elizabeth was a very curious and warm-hearted child. She was a good speaker and full of energy. At least until about 15 months ago. But in just a week, everything changed. I don't understand the name. I shuddered. I used to hit my head on the floor. I was scared to see her as a parent, and I felt like I lost her. I didn't know what a child felt until I was 6 years old. What he wanted. The child hid his face with his one hand when his anger boiled. There was no greater pain than having to watch his child as a parent. At the end of the question, my mother, the person who had expressed the doctor of an autistic child and tried typing education to Elizabeth. She learned 5 months a week, and the first word they expressed was agonai, but God. The 6-year-old was suffering from autism and inability to express his opinion. He tore his mother's heart. She said not talking, not being able to speak, to express. What is most distressing because of autism, she continued her studies normally with the help of parents and people around her. I got a 4-point full point speech at the university. Lex her speech, which was written one by one, and it made a speech. I can speak with autism, and I don't wear the socks on my one because of the neurokinetic problem. I can't even button my shirt. I am autistic, but luckily I learned to communicate through writing. I was able to get out of the silent person and get educated like my hero, Helen Keller. I have dreams like Martin Luther King. I have dreams. It's a communication for everyone. There are 31 million people with language impairment around the world. They are locked in silent person. I want to help them get out of your pain of silence and pave the way for themselves. I hope you will use the voice God has given you. I would like to conclude my speech by quoting Alan Turing, who deciphered the Nazi password during World War II. No one could have expected to do what they couldn't imagine. We all have that kind of a person. Let's be right. Let's be right. Thank you. My father will be responsible for eating and living. So you will tell your neighbors, just think about what good you can do. Elon Musk says, I am not thinking about how to make money, but how to help the future of mankind. in the mind to be the light and salt of the world. Now the person who exhausted the light and salt of the world, we are proven to be the people of heaven. I say that just save us, not to destroy the law. It is to live a holy life according to the law. Those who believe in Jesus and are born again must live a holy life that loves God and neighbor. The life is the salty taste of the people of God and the right. So, today we live in the world with light and salt. Thanks to the grace of Jesus in us, let's live a holy love life today, and then people will see our salty taste on the right and honor God's Father. And we'll make more people who are saved from us. God bless. Biblical scholar, Dr. Kim. Continue. God bless. Take care.